Here we go.
I
So
fucking hate
we.
you.
What season?
So-
Fuck, it's your, I could have told you this was a dumb idea.
This is like your favorite
Alright.
thing. So, let's Russell start.
Yeah, facts. Imagine when I edit, it's even worse because like I always start with it, and I end up cutting it out half the time.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. You definitely do.
But what do you call it? So we have moved the time machine yet again. We left the 2012-2013 NBA season. Now we are entering. I think this is the modern era. That fair? We're a few years away from it at this point, but I think this is considered the modern era.
I think the game's changed since then.
Okay, elaborate.
The only difference to me between the 2016-17 season to currently is the defense is different. I think that the defense, the rule after last year, the rules changed a little bit more to be a little bit more physical. After we look like bitches against
that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, so I think
the Olympics.
There's where it changes a little bit. I still think there was definitely defense played in the in the 16-17 season. It's just it definitely revved up a little bit more after I think what was it 2021 or 2022, one of the two, where we clearly saw a difference in the rule changes and how they were allowing teams to play a little bit more defense.
True. And that happened like during
it's because we look like pussies against the world. And we still
think that's
won.
A big reason for it? I definitely think that's a big reason for it. I think you're right.
It's 100%. That's because right after, literally, it comes because Damian Lillard had multiple. I think he had multiple interviews during this time because he was on the Olympics team, and he talked about how the difference in the game was the physicality. Like they weren't used to how physical they're allowed to play compared to what they play in the NBA. Which AKA saying that they bitches, and it literally showed. But that was like perfect though, right? Because and I know this is like a complete tangent at this point, but that's perfect to show like when you add physicality, it changes the way a player will play. Like, but the nice part, the part that was really nice is you got to see within a 2 to 3 month span that these players adapted to it and won.
Yep.
That quickly. So it's also like you can't always just say physicality is going to completely change them because they were able to adapt.
I think the other reason why it's hard to say that this is 100% the modern game and how fast it changes is I was shocked to see how low the pace was. Like I was expecting the average pace to be closer to 100, and it's only at 96. Now, our 2001 Lakers, are at the bottom of this list, but they are not the last team. It is by 1/10 of a point.
Let's go.
At 91.7, the Lakers barely keep themselves out of the bottom of this list. But they will be a slower team. Having said that, where do you see this team ranking for wins and losses? Because they're in a very competitive Western Conference.
Yeah.
With some of the you got the serious heavy hitters.
The top 3 teams are pretty elite, right? Yeah. You got what is it? You got obviously the Warriors, the Rockets, and the Spurs.
Yes. Kawhi's peak Spurs season. I'm pretty sure either this one or the next one. The one they had. Spurs had 67 wins last year.
Yes. Yeah. And but this is when Kawhi takes that leap for sure.
Yeah, he's third in MVP voting. 25, 6. 3.5, 2 steals and a block. Yeah, fucking savage.
Playing elite defense.
Yeah, and playing elite defense. But obviously, 67-15 Warriors. This is the Kevin Durant Warriors.
He won Defensive Player of the Year this year as well, right? I think.
No, Draymond won Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay, so the year before, I think Kawhi won.
Yes.
Okay.
I think you're right. About that. I'll have it on your screen.
Yeah.
Gotcha. What do you call it? No, Draymond is the Defensive Player of the Year this year. Part of the Big Four. In Golden State, we are this is the beginning of that era and that run that's going to take the Warriors to many more finals past this point. But still got, I believe this is still Lob City era, Clippers.
Yeah. You want to know what's crazy about that Draymond stat line?
Obviously.
A lot of people make fun of Draymond for the single doubles and all this other stuff, right? But in reality, what was that, 10 or 11, 8 and 7 or something like that? Like that would have been an elite third option in the 90s, right?
Hell
And that's their
yeah.
fourth. And that's
Hell
their
yeah.
fourth option. Like,
not to mention 2 steals and a block and a half a game.
Yeah, exactly.
And he can occasionally hit a 3 for you. In the 90s, this might be a flaming hot take, but in the 90s, Draymond Green would be very relevant. Like, extremely relevant in the 90s.
Yeah, he wouldn't be able to guard the power forwards like he was doing. Well, like he's doing now.
I think he has a chance against guys like Sean Kemp. I think he'd do okay against guys like that. Like true power
That's
forwards.
the guy his size.
That's what I'm saying, though.
When you have to guard Tim Duncan, fucking Kevin Garnett, and freaking sometimes Shaq and
no, that's where when we get, as we'll talk about when we talk postseason here.
Yeah.
When you're putting Draymond against guys who are almost double his size, is a little different. But pure power forwards in the 90s, I think Draymond would have held his own. He would have done all right. Especially from a toughness and trash talking standpoint, I think he would have been well liked.
100%. He would have fit right in.
Draymond, that's what I'm saying.
He literally sounds like he's from the 90s.
But how many wins do you see this Laker team getting here? Because it's interesting with the slow pace and the lack of 3-point shooting. I think that's officially going to affect them as we step into this era. Because nobody is taking less than 23s per game this season. No one. Not one team. Even the shitty ones. Not one team is taking less than 20. And the Lakers are taking 16, I believe, in the regular season. So I think that has a chance to affect them. But go ahead.
Yeah, I know in previous hypotheticals, we've kind of tried to adjust for some of that, right? Like a little bit.
Sure. A little bit.
So we could assume the Lakers were taking 16 threes a game, right?
Yeah.
We got, what is the average threes per game for in the 16-17 season?
I got it. It should be 25, I would imagine. Pretty close to that.
So 25. So it's not
27 to be exact. 27 to be exact.
So it's not insane to think that the Lakers could shoot 22, 23 maybe threes if they went from 16.
It's just about personnel, though, too. Like, I could see 20. I could see 20 being, like, legitimately
so that's
realistic.
4 more threes. And I think the Lakers have a system to where they can get open threes. Because that's kind of what they were doing anyways, right? So I just think they have to run that a little bit more. And with Shaq, and this is just me making the case for the Lakers to win. I think I'm not going to go 60 wins. Because I think they do have a hard time because they have to deal with more 3-pointers, and it makes Shaq a little bit less relevant. Even though he's going to be a dominant big man, probably averaging crazy numbers, but I think it makes him a little bit less relevant because it's hard when you have some teams shooting 43s, and if they make literally a third of them, it's equal to Shaq's 30 points. It's like it kind of really negates him. But I do think that the Lakers will have to lean on pushing the threes a little bit more, and they clearly could shoot. They shot 16 threes 20 years before, 15 years before. So I think they could shoot about 5 to 8 more, and it's not significantly crazy. And,
no, I don't think it's crazy. It's just more about who are those threes going to come from. Obviously, Kobe.
It's going to be
obviously Fisher. I think Ori probably does that, takes that step back. Rick Fox, like it's going to be those guys, but I don't see them getting up more from each of them more than 5 a game. Like I feel like if we were to say to get them over 5, I feel like that's too much.
Yeah, no. But I would say each of them shoot 1 to 2 more. Maybe. Right. So we just named 4 guys. If each of them take a 3 or 2 more, I would want Fisher, Horry, and Rick Fox taking 2 more threes, and Kobe probably taking 1. That's 7 extra threes. We got 16. We got 15, 16. It's 23. It's not crazy.
You're right.
And then,
you were right. Yeah, you're right.
So in that sense, I think that's like likely to happen. I'm probably giving the Lakers probably the 3rd or 4th seed in this conference. I think you got Golden State with 67 wins, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got the Spurs with 61. They're not in the same the same division, so it's not really gonna affect them, right? Golden State's not in the same division as the Lakers, are they?
Oh no, they are. All the California teams are together.
Oh, they are.
It's like
They are.
It's like the California teams and Phoenix. I think is the official.
It's
conference.
California and Phoenix.
So I would say because I don't think that the Golden State's just sweeping the Lakers. So in a series, so I would take away 2 from them and probably add 2 to the Lakers. So it'll probably be like Warriors get 65 wins, Spurs probably stay at 61. I'm giving the Lakers like 57.
Yeah, that's basically what their record is in 2001, and I think that's incredibly fair. Like I think that's fair. Here's the thing that I find interesting with this though, because they're gonna play inside out. They're gonna have to. That's what they do. Yep. You have Shaquille O'Neal. No matter how many extra threes you're gonna take, it's gonna start from Shaq being on the inside and dominating. Once again, as we look at the center position here, that's what we got to look up. If we got to go to StatMuse, I've done this the last couple of times now.
Yeah, it's not even fair. Giannis and Embiid were in the league, right?
They're in the league,
but
I think Embiid is young. Okay. Giannis is super young, but he wouldn't even be considered a center by StatMuse.
So I'm gonna go. I feel like I'm missing someone big, but all right, if Embiid is in the league and he actually played, I'm gonna say it's Embiid with like 20 to 21 points a game.
I because you did this, I feel the need to say Brook Lopez. I think it might be Brook Lopez.
Oh my god. If it is Brook Lopez again.
Anthony
Davis. Oh, fuck. I knew I was missing someone.
You know why? Because we're thinking of him being a power forward. Fuck you, Anthony Davis.
Because he's a pussy. So
you got Brook Lopez.
It was really DeMarcus Cousins, actually. Yeah. It was really DeMarcus Cousins. Okay.
Facts. This is the year he was traded at the All-Star break to New Orleans. I remember that. It was so sick because people on social media were basically like they put up DeMarcus and AD in New Orleans Pelicans, and it was just this meme of the Undertaker and Kane choke slamming people.
Yeah, that was honestly awesome though, because they were like so literally, awesome. Yeah, they were
good with each other. Like,
yeah,
if they would, I wish they had more time. And
if they had more time and they didn't face the Warriors in the playoffs, it just makes it difficult. And I think didn't DeMarcus rupture his Achilles? I
think it's next year because he played 72 games this year. So I think it's the following year he tears his Achilles. But to your point, I wish they had more time together because they clearly liked each other.
Mm-hmm.
And like
they were like throwing DeMarcus was throwing alleys to AD and stuff like that. It was crazy. That was an awesome combo.
Dude, those were sick. They'll be on your screen. A crazy center to power forward plays. You got young Joker in here getting. Do you think that there was not a game?
Like, I know it was like extremely short lived, but there's no other center power forward duo that was probably as like that. In NBA history, there's not many.
McHale and Parrish.
Yeah,
off the top of my head, just thinking about it real quick.
Both averaging 25 plus, because I remember there were games that they both had double doubles, triple.
Oh
like didn't they both have like, or they went back to back or something with 20 games? I thought that they both did some shit like that.
I'll have it on your screen if I can find it. But
it was like extremely short lived, but it was actually awesome.
It was genius, in my opinion. This is kind of weird. We're going off about a Pelicans team that probably nobody remembers, but it was genius for this reason. They went completely against the grain. In a total guard-heavy league, let's get the two most dominant bigs we can find. I just think it was a smart way to go about it because
with an elite because remember they had Drew Holiday at the time. That was not a bad team. It was just you literally went against the best team in the league. So that's why and they got smoked too. I think it was like 4 or 5 games they lost.
They had Lance for a couple of games.
Yeah, Buddy
Dante Cunningham. Buddy Hield was on this team before he got traded for Boogie. There was a couple of. This was a very interesting team, and I remember AD going off in the playoffs. Pretty sure that's this year. But there's a couple of defensive centers here, but mostly I'm seeing Shaq tearing through a lot of these guys like tissue paper.
Yeah, because Boogie was the bully.
Yeah,
and Shaq is like significantly bigger than Boogie.
I
and Boogie's a huge man, and I think Shaq is like way bigger than him.
Yeah, I think
he's at least 3 inches taller and probably like 50 to 60 pounds heavier.
Yeah, what's his listed height? 6'10". Yeah, you're right.
That's what I'm saying.
And there's famously in this era, he bullied Tim Duncan in a game.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of famous DeMarcus Cousins moments where he turns into
Don't forget
Shaq.
my boy Zebo though. You know, he let him know. But from where I'm from, bullies get bullied. Bullies get bullied. I
remember that.
And Shaq would be saying that same shit to DeMarcus. I promise you, he'd be bullying the fuck out of him.
No, he would look at look at him and say some shit. He would literally look at him and be like, "Legends, this is legend shit. I'm a legend." Remember that shit we went over in the legacy breakdown?
Hey, big fella,
you shouldn't talk to a legend. I'm
the bully around here, big fella.
Fucking stupid.
I'm the bully. You barbecue chicken.
But who's got a chance against him defensively? We got AD here. Peak Marc Gasol, I think, not has his way, but these are the guys that I'm throwing out there. Hassan Whiteside this is probably his best year.
Yeah.
17 and 14 with 2 blocks a game.
Yeah.
Who else? Miles Turner's okay defensively. Gobert report, obviously. Bigger than Shaq. Probably one of the only guys here that's going to be bigger than Shaq.
There's no while we've watched this, we've never thought that any of these guys were Shaq, or can do anything with Shaq. A guy like AD obviously could pull Shaq out, take advantage of him that way. Pause.
Right.
And then the same thing with DeMarcus. DeMarcus could. He probably wouldn't, because that's the great part about DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins in his prime, he literally could bump with you down low, and he could also bring you out, dribble, get by you, and he could shoot a jump shot. He could shoot a three. He was.
But to have him here in the tops for centers and defensive rating, top 10 here, is kind of crazy. This speaks
because DeMarcus was
not a defender, not known for his defense.
Yeah.
Known for the exact opposite, to be exact.
That's crazy. Andre Drummond is a good defender. I didn't realize that.
Again.
We don't feel that way.
No, he's just an amazing rebounder. But another guy I think Shaq has his way with. It's a short list. So in terms of points per game, where do you have Shaq? Gobert and
Shaq's averaging 30. Yeah, because you got to remember. All right, so I would say Shaq is probably averaging 32 to 33. I'm trying to be nice because I really want to say 35, but I feel like
this is the logic that I've been using in these last 2 or 3 episodes we've done, where it's not necessarily a change of pace, because obviously they're still going to have one of the slowest pace in the league, but the lack of competition matters.
Yeah. In his position, for sure.
Yeah, it matters. And I don't give you, if he's at 28.7 in 01, I think it's fair, especially if they're going to be kicking out for 3-pointers and there's just less ability to double team him because they have to stay honest with 3-point shooters. I think there's no way he doesn't cross that 30 points per game barrier. And so you said 33?
Yeah. I'm going to go 33 and 11 or 12. And I know that sounds a little weird, but the reason is because there's more 3-pointers getting shot, there's longer rebounds. Yeah, I think if you're all
your guards have a better chance to get them.
Yeah.
Yep. But at 33, he will be leading the league in scoring. What do you have Kobe doing? Especially adding the couple more threes. I don't know why I even bother asking this question, but go ahead.
I'm gonna give Kobe I'm gonna just be generous and say 30. Because I think he could get a point. I think he could get a point and a half more.
I think so too.
Yeah, without a lot of the rule changes, all the stuff, they don't play as good defense. You don't have the best shooting guards in the leagues. Before, when Kobe was playing, a lot of those better shooting guards in the league also played good defense or decent defense. A lot of those guys, right? And throughout his era. In this league, you don't have shooting guards playing lockdown defense. So I think he gets to take advantage a little bit more, and plus he obviously is shooting more threes, stuff like that. It should raise him up. I'm being nice, as most people know, and I get criticized for. I'm a Kobe cock eater, and I fully take that on, and I'm being humble enough to say he's averaging 30 here instead of 37. All right.
Here's what a light bulb just went off in my head.
Yeah.
Do they start Robert Horry? because I'm looking at their playoffs, and obviously Horace Grant was great for this period of time.
Yeah.
But I think they could win more. Because I have them, like I said, I have them about 56 wins, which is basically
so we're not that far off from each other. We're literally a game away. All right.
But if you
so
told
you have them
me,
the third seed, just like me.
Yes.
Okay.
But if you told me that they were going to flip Ori and Horace Grant, and now you're 4 out around Shaq, then I think that's too much. A couple more wins out of that.
Like,
you think?
Yeah, only because it's so Phil Jackson. We've already seen what Phil Jackson looked like in kind of this era-ish. Like,
yeah, I was thinking about that too.
The middle 2010s, they look like shit. But he also didn't have 2 superstars on his team at the time.
And he was playing with the filthy. He was
playing.
He was coaching. Yeah, he was working with the Knicks. With
trash ass.
Dog shit.
Yeah. So because of that, we kind of look at Phil Jackson in more of a like tainted light, right? And sure. I feel like it's pushing it a lot because they always played that standard, right? I guess standard basketball where it's point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. So right. I think to say, okay, they're going to change to the small ball method, I think that's that's giving them too much. I think that's putting too much of a controller in their ass. Pause.
I guess I get what you're saying. I guess for me, it's like Ori's obviously their 6th man in this era. Mm-hmm. He's 6'10". Like, he's very obviously power forward sized.
Yep.
And in my head, it's like...
It makes sense, yeah.
If they do that in this era, they're going to be, like... I think that,
elite,
it helps them more than you'd think. Because, obviously, if you're going against the Pelicans or a team where you want to try and beat another team with size, then, you want to go Horace Grant, who's having at 35, still playing pretty well for this Laker team. Mm-hmm. But, I was thinking about it as we were talking about the 3-point shooting and who's going to be shooting the threes.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you put Shaq around Ori, Fox, Kobe, Fisher, like, it just... It makes,
you got the rotation.
Now you're a 2015-16 team, and you have a much better chance against some of these elite teams.
Yeah.
So and for me,
it's not crazy to think that Phil Jackson can do something like that because he's literally arguably the greatest coach of all time. Like, I know you don't agree with that, but a lot of people would.
He's in the conversation. That. I'm not going to deny that.
Yeah. So like because of that, he definitely is smart enough to do something like that and adapt because he's been great at adapting. I think even with this, he's had his same system but adapted his system to the change over the 20 years, right? Yeah, I know you also don't agree with that 100% either. But so I know. I don't want to get into the triangle of freaking conversation, but we can because this is honestly a perfect time to really have that too. But
it is, especially when we get into the postseason, it's going to matter a lot. But you had Shaq. You said 33, 12. How many blocks?
I'm gonna go like just 2.5. Yeah,
I would say less, just because there's less people coming in the paint.
Yeah. Because before we were giving him like 3, and I like 2.5 to 3. I'm going 2 to 2.5, like that range, just because.
Yeah.
I think it, like you said, I think there's gonna be less people in the paint. He's gonna have less chances. Yeah.
So I got Shaq. At about 31 points per game. Let's go 11.5 rebounds, but I have him getting 5 assists a game.
What?
That's oh yeah. You heard me right. I have him getting 5 assists a game. If we're saying he's going to be kicking out and these guys are going to be shooting 7 more threes a game, you're telling me that's not because of Shaq? Come on. He's getting those passes. And I think 5 is realistic in this a little bit more run and gun era.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
That's what I'm saying. And if he's kicking it to guys like
Shaq
Kobe,
and Kobe in this era, in like the 60s, that's going to be like so unstoppable. Because it was hard. Yeah, it's definitely.
So I got him averaging a little bit more on the assists end of the spectrum, and then I got him at about 2 blocks.
Mad at that. Yeah.
I just feel like it's realistic. If you're telling me he's getting doubled and he's kicking it out and these guys are shooting more threes, he's naturally going to rack up the assists from that. So I feel like 5 is realistic, especially at 3.7 here. Like, why wouldn't that be the case? So that's what I have. Where do you have him in terms of MVP voting, which I think is a little interesting this year because none of these guys, outside of obviously Curry and Durant, it's there, and even Durant's not really high on this list. It's all guys from one team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we're not seeing any. We got to worry about the two guys with 25 points, whatever. It's just one guy each team on the list. And I feel like Shaq and Kobe, man, in this era, maybe they get penalized even more.
Yeah.
Because of what we know.
It's just too much. Yeah, it's definitely too much. Yeah.
What we know about duos.
Especially with because at this point, you could say that there's. Yeah. I know it was like people would not say this because I remember people were very upset this year because it was one of those. We already know what the finals is going to be. It's going to be a shit season, and really Russell Westbrook saved a lot of people in the 17 season. Remember, Russell Westbrook put on a complete show for the entire world, and I think that he kind of helped with the season a little bit just because everybody knew where it was headed. So I do think obviously adding the Lakers into the mix makes it a little different because I can completely see I completely see Laker fans being like, nah, they have a chance of winning the chip, right? Because, I mean, they definitely
of course.
are. Yeah. They're the top 3 teams in the league, I would say. Top 2, in my opinion.
Okay.
But because of the Shaq and Kobe thing, even if they both average 30, like Westbrook probably still getting the 6th seed. Average, maybe not. Maybe getting the 7th seed, right? Because you got the Lakers coming in the mix. So that would drop them down a little bit because the Clippers probably still going to get the 50-49 wins. And it's going to, So Westbrook, maybe if he's at 7th seed, it's way harder to give him MVP because it was already like 6th seed was like, what the fuck? 7th seed, I don't think it's been done over that span of time, that 60-year span. They had at least Kareem to go back to with the stupid ass.
True.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started with that MVP he won for not making the playoffs.
Yeah. Moses won it, but I think 6th seed, 82 or 83. He won MVP. Some shit like that. Because Westbrook was the last player since Moses Malone to win it, being a 6th seed.
So this is the part to me, like, I can't believe. So there's a big difference between what happened with Russell Westbrook and what happened last year with Jokic. And we talked about this in the moment, like when we did our little in-person podcast.
Checking our archives, people, even though it's old shit.
Yeah,
we go.
Yeah, even though it's like very dated at that point. But I think for people to say that Westbrook didn't deserve this MVP, it's fucking insane to me. Even though in LeBron's legacy breakdown, I made the case for LeBron to get more MVP votes. Then and like I saw a universe where you could make LeBron's case for MVP this year, especially coming off that championship. I just don't. The guy is the first guy to average a triple-double in whatever many years, and he's one of the smallest guys on the court. Like 11 rebounds, and then considering he's going to do this 4 out of the next 5 years.
Yeah.
That's insane. I don't think that'll ever be replicated. I'll go ahead and say that now. Well, I don't think that'll get replicated.
I think some people argue, like, especially in, like, they'll pull up the tapes and be like, yeah, but sometimes you'd see his teammates box out rebounds for him to get it so he could keep up his stats.
Oh, I know a guy who said stuff like that.
and that it's 100% true. But
you know what? My man made me look up for hours on YouTube try and find this fucking video.
I think I sent it to you.
I found one video. of that I'll try to fucking find again.
Yeah.
He said
just go back to our archives. You can find that shit, man. Nah, but all jokes aside, I actually learned after the fact that it was actually smarter for them to do it like that way because what helped them was the pace. If having a big man get the rebound and then passing it to Westbrook took too much time, they were already not the greatest defensive team and not the greatest offensive team. So the best thing possible is for Westbrook to get the ball and go downhill as quick as possible. So it actually did make sense what they were doing and why he was semi-successful doing it. So I actually take that back a little bit just because of that extra information. That it was actually helpful. But I also think if you watched that season, there's no fucking way that you watched that season and did not think Russell Westbrook deserved MVP when watching that season. The difference is when you watched last season and you watched the entire season, no one, most
clearly
people,
somebody. Clearly some people.
Clearly a lot of people did. But people who actually fucking watched as fans did not go back and say Joker is definitely MVP. Because you had a Giannis Antetokounmpo, best top 2 seeds in the East, and doing very similar shit.
Yeah,
and somehow
Same
not
thing
getting
with
recognition because he didn't win a fucking. Well, he won a chip by then, right? He won a chip last. Yeah, so it was like not even a reason. Yo, they be hating. You see, all right, no, we're not even doing that. But don't be hating on my man Giannis. Giannis really should be winning MVP this year, 2023. Just so y'all listen. But Embiid, I'm cool with that too. But whatever.
Facts.
No, it's
so
Embiid.
I got Shaq. I'm sorry, what were you gonna say?
I don't want to hear it should be somebody. It's Embiid.
Yeah, it's Embiid. Yeah. No, I mean it's really Giannis, but it's
it's Embiid.
It is really.
Shut up.
Really
it's Embiid.
Giannis, but
I don't want to hear it. It's Embiid.
Moving into All NBA, is Shaq the unanimous first team center in this league?
I think when people watch Shaq play in this league, they're gonna think that he's by far the best player in the league.
I think so too. I think maybe not the best player because there's a lot of talent here. Like, sure, that he'll be in the discussion, but there's no way he won't be the best center. There's no fucking way. Unless you're going to hold against him that he can't shoot. Which in this season and going forward is going to be really relevant. Yeah. Because there's guys like Cat. There's guys like Boogie. There's guys like AD who takes steps outside a little bit. There are guys besides guys like DeAndre Jordan who are essentially rim runners. That's what Shaq's... The argument against Shaq is he's a rim runner on steroids in this era. That's the argument against Shaq.
Yeah.
I would definitely hear that. There's no way that people wouldn't make that claim. At least some people.
Yeah.
Hot take humans.
Yeah.
Like Skip Bayless, for example.
Yeah. Honestly, and maybe I'm not actually. I gotta take that back. He's not by far the best player in the league because I forget. Yeah. LeBron James, especially in the playoffs, the next 2 years, is elite. Just defensively, he's not 100% there, but I still think
playoffs though he definitely takes a huge step up on defense.
In 2017, he's fine. 2018, he definitely is not. But that's because he also takes on too much of the offensive load.
Too much.
So
way too much.
He has to literally be like, "Fuck defense, I'm playing offense." That's which was awesome. But so I'm gonna take that back because I think there's a huge argument between LeBron and Shaq. But this is gonna be the first. I would think 100% within this 10-year span. This is the first true argument against LeBron James's greatness because it was always LeBron then Kevin Durant. That was it throughout all of, and then sometimes Steph. But so.
But you know what's what would hurt Shaq's case. Is if this 01 Lakers team can't win the championship, right? Yeah. So let's go.
Before we do that, could I just say one thing though, for our crowd listening? All right, this is the first time in Apex Greatness history that we're gonna have someone be moved into the hypotheticals, and when we talk about MVP, it does change for me who the MVP is. But it's not because of that player. Well, it's kind of because of that player, but
I'm listening.
I think the MVP this season is James Harden.
Wow.
And it's because I do think Westbrook's team now moves to the 7th or 8th seed, which no longer qualifies him to have that triple double and it mattering as much as it did because now it doesn't look as good. And James Harden literally almost did the same exact thing. He was just 2 rebounds off. And he's this and what
55.
He would be like.
So I think they were probably going to be. They will fight the Lakers and Houston will probably fight. It's either between James Harden or Kawhi Leonard for me. Because
that's the other thing I was going to say. Because Kawhi at 61 with his stats.
Yeah,
it's and they were in terms of defense, it wasn't close between the three candidates.
Yes, yeah.
Like Kawhi is that man, especially at this point.
Yeah, actually, sorry, because I didn't realize Houston was. I thought Houston. I keep thinking Houston's the second seed, but that's next year. So it is. I think it has to be Kawhi.
Wow.
Yeah, because they'll be the second seed still.
Yeah.
And I think it's because Shaq and Kobe literally push out Harden, Russell Westbrook, and it makes Kawhi look even better.
Yeah,
I think that's the first time we've ever had that happen, where we switched the MVP, and it's someone else that's not the people that we're talking about here. So
I think that's definitely apex greatness history for sure.
Yeah, let's go.
100%.
I always like making history. You can call me like
that's what I'm about.
Like D Mamba. Can we call me D Mamba instead of Black? D Mamba. Yeah, all right.
It kind of sounds like you're Dick Mamba then.
Thanks, Lindsay.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate
that long snake.
I didn't even think of that. I appreciate it.
That's why we like to have the feminine touch on our show. All right, but we need to move into the playoffs.
This is gonna be the easiest playoff, like figuring out who's playing who, because it's like very simple, right? Like
who you want to take first? For me,
it's gonna be. I think it should be Houston, Spurs, and Golden State.
Yeah.
It's like, I think it's very simple. And then obviously they're playing the Cavs in the finals.
Right. So let's talk Houston Rockets. Right? So obviously Houston Rockets 55-27, deep in Morey ball, what's known as Morey ball, in the idea of we are just trying to get the best stats possible, and that's what's going to lead us to victories. We're looking at all
so
advanced
you consider
metrics.
it Morey ball instead of D'Antoni?
Well, in terms of like roster construction, yes, I consider it Morey ball because outside of Clint Capella, basically everybody here is shooting threes, right? Almost
that's pretty much how you wanted our Lakers to be.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
But no, so I think their goal was we are going to hit more 3-pointers than you. Everything you were talking about earlier with if they take 40 and they make a third of them.
Mm-hmm. This is the team that takes 40. So
this is why, like, even more than D'Antoni, this is what Daryl Morey wanted more than anything, especially in this era. And he brought D'Antoni in to say, hey, everything you did in Phoenix, I want you to do that times 1,000,000.
Yeah.
And it worked. Harden became Steve Nash, and he put all these guys around him. And it's just talk about a clash of styles we're going to see here.
Yeah.
When we look at their playoff numbers, as we know about James Harden, he has a tendency to drop fairly dramatically when it comes to the playoffs. This season, not too much different. Obviously, the same scoring, like 29.1 to 28.5. Shooting 44% in the regular season. That drops down to 41 in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Under
28% from 3. That's huge because he's not. Yeah. He's shooting definitely
taking
higher
10.
than that. Yes.
DH, that's a lot. That's a shit ton.
I'm curious to see what you think about this series.
I got Lakers in 5.
I was like, do we have to argue today?
No, there's no way that this team doesn't get one game because they make like 1 billion threes.
Mm-hmm.
There's no fucking way. But other than that, Clint Capella is getting eaten for breakfast. That's barbecue chicken for Shaq. 100% destruction. And unless Trevor Ariza, at 31 years old, not totally out of his like solid playing days, but he'd be the guy guarding Kobe here because it's damn sure not going to be Harden. And Eric Gordon's way too small. He would have to guard Fisher. Maybe Patrick Beverly, but again, he's kind of small. Like so, unless you're telling me Patrick Beverly just annoys the shit out of Kobe, but again, I could see that one game. I can't see that for a series. And I got Shaq averaging 35 and 15 in this series because I just think it would
more
be
than that, probably 40 piece easily.
Yeah, and I think this is a universe where
Well, it's the first
Lakers,
round, so it's probably I definitely 35 because Shaq's not going crazy in the first round.
I think there's a universe where the Lakers slow down the Rockets in terms of pace. I don't think the Rockets make the Lakers play fast. I think the Lakers make these Rockets play slower, which is devastating to their game. Yeah, absolutely devastating.
And that's how it always goes. Whoever's the better team controls the pace. That's almost always how it goes. And also the biggest issue, and I know you kind of touched on this, but I think you get to see arguably probably the top 5 shooting guard of all time going against the second greatest shooting guard of all time. I think you get to see the huge gap between the two because when you watch Kobe play him in the playoffs versus how Harden is going to play in the playoffs, I think there's going to be too significant. And I think because of that, because I really truly do think, and I know this sounds probably crazy, but I think Kobe will lock up Harden completely.
I think there's a universe where that happens. The only reason I'll say that might not happen. Well, first, okay, you know what? It'll definitely happen because Harden will end up choking himself. There's no way
that's why I know that he's gonna lock him up. Yeah, because even if Harden might still get 30, but he's gonna shoot 35, 40 shots. He's
the Allen Iverson treatment.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. Yeah, I would agree with that because I'm thinking of Iverson getting 50 in the finals, and it's like he got his 50, he had a good game, and then they won in 5. That's what happened.
Yep, exactly. And I think I really do think that Kobe's gonna be on his ass, and that's the worst thing because now you got Houston is the best offensive player. I truly do think Kobe Bryant can guard him one-on-one and not need that much help. I know that I'm
okay with that. I'm actually okay with that considering
a lot of people might think I'm sucking dick, but I really do think
I'm okay
Kobe
with it.
would lock him up.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
And because of that, you also have Shaq being able to do whatever the fuck he wants. And I think Kobe's still going to be able to do whatever the fuck he wants while locking him up. I think it's just going to be it really should be a sweep. We're giving them the gentleman's sweep because we're giving them a game where they make 23s.
Yeah, they have. Yeah. It's going to happen.
Yeah,
it's going to happen. It's either going to be the.
It was notorious with this Rocket team too.
Yeah, it's either going to be game 1 or game 4 that this happens.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm telling you right now.
Yeah,
it's going to be one of those 2 games. Otherwise, there's. But I have Lakers in 5. Lindsay, what do you think?
Sweep.
Sweep?
Yeah.
You have a sweep?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you don't think the 3-point shooting makes a difference here?
No, James Harden's a bum mentally in the playoffs. So no.
Yeah.
All right.
To me,
listen, I can't sit here and say you're full of shit. I can't do it because there's also a lot of these guys are just tiny as shit.
Mm-hmm.
You got guys 6'1", 6'1", 6'1". Three of their main guys are just tiny as fuck. Ryan Anderson ain't doing anything on defense. It's just a bad matchup.
It's gonna be really
bad matchup.
Yeah.
God forbid they let the Lakers be any kind of physical.
Mm-hmm.
Any kind of physical.
Yeah.
And it's curtains.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Moving on into the second round, we have an old friend in Greg Popovich.
Yes.
And the San Antonio Spurs, a completely new look Spurs team, right?
Yeah. Pop is probably pissed.
Motherfucker, we gotta deal with this bitch Shaq again?
Yeah, fuck. We gotta deal with this shit again, and we don't have the greatest power forward ever. It fucking sucks.
We don't have an aging David Robinson. We just have aging Pau Gasol. This is gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay, you still got Ginobili.
You think Kobe's going in his shit right away? Going right in, he should just go right into Gasol's chest like the 08. Like the 08. If you guys don't get the reference.
Technically, they don't know each other yet. Technically.
Oh, that's true. So Kobe's definitely going in his shit. For sure. It's if you guys don't get the reference, Kobe Bryant, very first game they played against Spain in the Olympics in 2008 Redeem Team, Kobe went right into Pau Gasol's chest and dropped his bitch ass and let him know this ain't brotherly love out here.
Breaking the brains of LeBron and Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
Completely breaking their brains in the process. But you have Kawhi Leonard at one could argue his apex. I personally have Toronto playoffs.
Yes, me too.
But you could argue that this is his apex. This is the year, right? Where this is the Zaza Pacheep shot year,
yes,
right? When they were up 20 on one of the greatest teams of all time in Game 1.
Yeah.
And mostly because of this man. Like,
he was completely,
he was fucking him hard.
Very dominant. And he literally, he fondled James Harden the series before. Just as a reminder. A lot of people forget that. Like, most people don't like to see like pedophilia or whatever, but like legitimately, he fondled the shit out of James Harden and like completely made him his son. So yeah,
he did, and so did Ginobili when Ginobili blocked James Harden.
Yes.
In this series to finish a game, that was crazy too. 39-year-old Ginobili.
Yeah,
holy 100%. Shit.
And I remember, because Kawhi got injured in that series. Not to bring, I mean, this is a sports history podcast, so
yes, it is.
Remember, Kawhi, he sprained his ankle originally in that series, the Houston series. James Harden completely choked. Remember that they were up and they literally he just had to win Game 6. Yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong. Kawhi did not play.
No, he didn't play. James Harden had to win Game 6.
Kawhi didn't play, and they beat Houston by 39 points. That's what happened.
Was that Game 6? Okay. So sorry. So they pretty much should have came back in the series and been. Most people thought Houston's gonna come back and win this, and instead they got fucked in the next game, and it was like shocking.
By 40, it was shocking. It was fucking insane. That was a crazy game. Man. Nobody to guard Shaq here. Again. Like, at all. Like, real bad. Like, even worse than the Rockets. Like, at least you could throw Clint Capella at the man.
Yeah.
And maybe he could jump and attempt to block a shot.
Yeah. Because he's legitimately destroying LaMarcus Aldridge. Like,
LaMarcus Aldridge is a power forward.
Yeah. Well, that's gonna be who they try to, like.
Who else? To your point, who else is it gonna be?
He's the biggest guy. I think.
Let's play. Do you have 77 footers? You have Dwayne Dedman, who was definitely a body they threw out there. I'm not going to argue that he's not trash, but he was a body that they threw out there for sure, right? Because I remember him playing in some of these series, especially a few years prior. But this is his third year in the league, right? And then you have 15-year vet Pau Gasol.
Yep. That's it. Yeah.
Another 35 and 15 for Shaq.
Another one. Yeah. It might be a 40 piece because you got to remember, like, Shaq doesn't like the Spurs. Like, so he probably going to be like, oh, this is one of the times I actually get to dominate the Spurs. So he's going to be like, fuck that.
You know what he's doing? He's getting the sheet of paper, right? He's looking at the roster. He sees the roster and he's like, huh? Ooh? What?
He's looking at the way you're looking at the phone is the same way he's looking at every single person who's guarding him. That's how big he is compared to them. Yes. just like, oh, you're actually a human. Yeah. I think
eating them the fuck up.
Yeah, I do think Kawhi and Kobe neutralize each other. I think this Kawhi Leonard is definitely good enough to cause problems to that Kobe Bryant for sure.
Yeah, and I don't think Kobe can stop this Kawhi in the same manner that we were talking about James Harden the last season.
Oh yeah, no. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to go. There's going to be they're going to go at each other. I think it's going to be
for
they
sure.
both could put 20 whatever on each other. Yeah,
if only they didn't have a 7'2", 400-pound mastodon in the game, then we'd have a real fucking battle here.
Yeah, exactly. But 100%.
I once again have. Go ahead.
I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious to see how many games.
I got Lakers in 5 again. There's no way. Kawhi gets maybe a 40-piece one game, and again, it comes down to three-point shooting. But this team is not shooting 40 like the Rockets were, where I can say there's no fucking way they don't get at least one game because of the threes. Like, I do think that the Spurs being the Spurs with all their ball movement and bullshit maybe get a game, but like, if you're about to tell me that they're going to sweep, I'm not going to have much of an argument for you. I'm just not. Like,
no,
I can't justify it.
Yeah,
but
surprisingly,
three-pointers.
Surprisingly, I'm actually So I think that they're gonna have the same amount of 3-pointers shot. I think the Lakers are because we had Lakers at about 23 to 24 threes. So it's gonna be they're very similar, right? I actually have it Lakers in 6. I think.
Wow.
I think Shaq. I think one thing that Pop has always shown he was smart about against Shaq is the hack of Shaq. He's definitely gonna take that to use that to his advantage, especially when they're in San Antonio. I think Kawhi is definitely good enough to, and they have a rotation. I mean, I wouldn't say like they have the greatest rotation of players to guard Kobe, but and I don't know
not
if
the
they,
worst.
But, yeah, not the worst.
Not the worst.
And I don't know how many besides Kobe. I don't know how many players can guard Kawhi on that team. So,
true.
So
they'll probably put Fox in that conversation, not to guard him well, but a body that's similar size throw at him. But yeah, you're right.
And not to mention you still got what you got Parker Ginobili there. Like they definitely can make some noise. It's not. I really do think that they could get 6 just off of Pop's coaching and probably Kawhi one game. And then
goddamn Kawhi, 52.5%, 46% from 3, and 93% in the playoffs.
He was so efficient.
Notice that.
Yeah,
he went 50, 40, 90 in this playoffs.
Yes,
man. Fuck you, Zaza Pachulia.
He's been elite. Yeah, he's been elite. That's what I'm saying. Like from that point of his career to I think the 2020 playoffs, Kawhi was like in like there aren't many players who had done what he had done in the playoffs. So that's why I'm giving him his respect. I think Lakers in 6.
Wow, that's really interesting because I just
I think one thing that Pop is always taking advantage of.
People who think Dario rides Shaq, I let it be known because I can't get there. I can't fucking get there.
Yeah,
I can't get to 6 games.
You're telling me that
trying to think about it.
Hack a Shaq strategy alone, I feel like could win you a game. Like Shaq is
that's why I have 5. That's why I have 5 because I think they put it all together.
Kawhi legitimately could do it offensively and defensively. He could win a game along with Ginobili probably hitting clutch shots, Tony Parker playing a huge role. You still got you got seasoned players in there, Danny Green, David Lee. Like they have a good team. They have ball movement there.
Tony Parker is not Tony Parker from even a few years ago.
But can Derek Fisher guard him? Hell no. Like remember, point guards, no matter what, have shitted on Derek Fisher. Like
I get where you're coming from. I'm just saying this Tony Parker is not like even.
This is when he blew out. I think this is when he blew out his hip.
That's what I'm saying. Like this is a guy.
But this is the season he did. I think this playoffs is when it happened.
Yeah.
So
but he's
we're
30,
considering
my
him.
point is, before the injury, he's 16, 3 assists a game. Yes, he's shooting 53%, which is kind of staggering. But like, I'm not saying Derek Fisher's going to lock him up. Obviously, I just I can't get to 6 games. It's like very difficult for me to get to 6 games unless Patty Mills comes out, hits 7 threes one game. Like I could see that maybe. Yeah. They're gonna need the others to fucking step
and maybe up. I'm being a little. I mean, not biased, but like I'm just giving a lot of respect to Pop. I think in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we talked about in the Legacy Breakdown available in your archives. In our fucking archives. Fucking excuse me, not yours. They're ours. But we talked about it in the when Shaq was on the Suns. Literally, if your child comes up to you after school one day and he's talking basketball with his friends and he goes, "Dad, what the fuck is the Hack-a-Shaq?" Show him that series between the Suns and the Spurs in like 2009. I think it's 2009. Because that is to a T. Like he had done it before then, obviously, but that is to a T how you stop Shaquille O'Neal with the Hack-a-Shaq. And it was incredible. Yep. It was incredible.
It was an old Shaq though, but definitely still is how you control it for sure.
It's how you do it. Lindsay, what you got?
I said 5.
You got 5?
Yeah.
What do you have for a stat line for Shaq? Because I have him at 35 and 15.
Why do you always gotta ask me for the numbers?
Because numbers are important on this show.
Yeah, I know, but I'm bad at making up like imaginary numbers.
Hey, they're not imaginary; they're hypothetical.
It's literally the same thing.
Thank you, Dario. Thank you.
It sounds better, motherfuckers. It sounds better, all right?
Yeah,
Either way,
sure.
give me your numbers, you piece of shit.
I don't know,
Give me
like
them.
34 and 12. I have no idea.
34 and 12 is respectable.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
How hard was that?
It just like, can't I just say that they win and Shaq does well?
No, it's not enough. Obviously.
Yeah, because it's not like you don't know
Any
how
schmuck.
well. Yeah.
Any schmuck can say that on the
Yeah,
corner.
exactly.
All right?
We're professionals.
We're putting
Come on.
our numbers where our mouths are.
Yes,
However,
because
that saying
one
should
day
work.
we're gonna find out if we were correct.
You know
Yeah,
what?
facts.
Technology
Yo,
is getting
I
crazy.
find-
Have you seen ChatGPT? We could see these things happen. All right? Next thing you know, ChatGPT is gonna make a time machine, and we're gonna be lit.
Lindsay, I get paragraphs of how I'm incorrect, so don't worry. I find out pretty quickly if I'm correct or incorrect to people. So don't worry. I read a whole fucking paragraph. I'm like, damn, I pissed this nigga off. Like,
That's amazing.
I was like, I made this nigga day messed up. Fuck. I'm sorry.
Oh man, facts. Anyways, so
All love though. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, like thank you for commenting, everybody.
Yeah, facts.
I appreciate
really do appreciate
everyone
it.
who's watched us enough to write a full paragraph. I
Yeah,
respect
that
the shit out of you.
if you legitimately take your time and took 15 minutes to write that paragraph, because there's no fucking way you didn't write an essay right there. So if you took your 15 minutes, I truly do appreciate that shit, because that means you like it enough to yeah.
Or hate
Speaking
it
of
enough.
liking, speaking of
Yeah.
liking, if you're this deep,
Yeah.
if you're this deep in the video and you've hit the Western Conference Finals, please fucking like and just subscribe, because like
Yeah, facts.
you're fucking 50 minutes into this shit. There's no way you're not at least entertained remotely. Anyways,
Yeah.
we are at the semi-main event. Could argue the co-main event. There's a big difference between the semi and the co-main.
Yo, this is the finals, all right? What the fuck is we talking
Of
about?
the Western Conference.
No, this is
Yes.
the real. Just like it was in the playoffs, like at that
In
year.
01.
I think they looked at it as not 01. Yeah, that's true. In 01 too. It's funny how it all comes full circle, but I really do think the Spurs or the me personally, but I was also a LeBron hater at the time. I thought the Spurs or the Warriors would probably win the chip. Whoever wins that series, but I had Warriors
weren't
in 6.
alone.
They swept them, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, you were not alone.
Yeah.
Not with
Yeah.
Kevin Durant. Like,
Oh well, yeah. Everybody
Obviously-
had the Warriors winning, but I'm saying if the Warriors didn't win, I would have still thought the Spurs were the second team. Like I never thought the Cavs were the second team personally.
so during the 16-17 season, there were a lot of pundits and hot take artists and Skip Baylesses and Stephen A. Smiths of the world
Yeah.
who were talking and comparing these exact two teams. Why? Because one team is 15-1 and the other was 16-1.
In a recent interview with Complex, Curry was asked in a hypothetical matchup which championship team wins, the 01 Lakers or his 2017 Warriors. Curry replied, "Obviously we feel like we can win. I don't know who would guard Shaq, but I don't know who would guard me and Clay either."
Would you put them ahead of those Lakers?
No. I don't think so. Just for the fact that, Shaq was a force to be reckoned with. There's nobody that will ever play the game like he did. And, of course, Kobe Bryant was simply amazing. And
Today, we know what they would do to Steph Curry in today's generation. They would look at Steph Curry. They would look at Kevin Durant back in 2000. And please don't get me wrong, Max. They would be all-star caliber players. But do you know the kind of physical abuse they would have had to absorb?
My team that went 15-1, that's the best team ever created because we should have went 16-0. I say we can win that because who's going to guard me and Kobe, right? They say, obviously, we feel like we can win. I don't know who can guard Shaq, but I don't know who would guard me and Clay either, and 3 is better than 2. Here's my rebuttal. Once they get hot, D-Fish, send them to the hole. I'm going to lay their ass out. Steph, Clay, and KD. I'm going to touch their ass all the way up. And you know who's going to have a lot of points? The center. What's his name?
It says that Draymond was the center on that 2017
Okay.
team.
Well, Draymond going to have to get 30 points.
After you and Kobe get y'all 30, there's a drop-off.
It's not a drop-off because they're going to have to double me. If they don't double me, I'm going for 60 without the free throws. So,
Having said that, I think this is a really interesting matchup because despite the fact that this might be the most talented starting 5 of all time, Zaza Pachulia is their weak spot. And historically, guys of great size, especially as we get into this era that we're in now in 2023, from 16, 17, basically to now, the Achilles heel of the Golden State Warriors have been dominant scoring centers.
Yeah.
Such as Joel Embiid, guys like that.
Yes. Yep.
Just
Giannis
put
always
in
gave him
work.
trouble too.
Giannis always gives them trouble. Guys who dominate the paint. And there is no player who dominates the paint in the last 50 years quite like Shaquille O'Neal. And I have Golden State in 6. But
damn, we fucking legitimately, you and I today have been besides the last series.
Yeah.
We just
Linked
it's
up.
like we've had this conversation way too many times.
Linked up.
Just
the audience doesn't need to know that, but because we have many a car guide. But
yeah,
I don't think they can stop Shaq, but I do think this is a situation where they can stop everybody else. I think they have a good amount of bodies to throw at Kobe. I think Iguodala in that spot is very interesting, even though he's a little bit older. I don't think Kobe scores less than 25. I think he could get 25 for sure. But when you got two guys on the other side pulling threes and lighting you the fuck up, Steph Curry against Derek Fisher is not a matchup. That's just as bad of a matchup as Shaq against Zaza, in my opinion.
Yes.
It's very worrisome.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Bro, I used to get so angry. As a Laker fan, I used to get so angry at Derek Fisher of how much he couldn't guard point guards. And imagine guarding arguably the second greatest point guard of all time. That's just is going to be a pain in the ass. And I think
and the most ridiculous shooting point guard ever. He's never seen anything like Curry. That 0-1 Derek Fisher would literally look at Steph Curry like, what are you doing what is this?
Yeah.
What is a step back 3 from 30 feet? I'm not guarding this guy out there. He's not going to make that shot.
Mm-hmm.
Cash.
Yeah. Yep.
Cash.
10
threes
and
later.
I do think that surprisingly, I agree. I'm leaning more towards 6, Warriors in 6 for sure. It could even be 5 though, because
wow.
So this is the big issue, and this is where a lot of people don't understand math. But when we start, let's just start talking. You got between Durant and Stephen Curry, you got them shooting 16 threes, right?
Yep.
They're making almost 7, right?
Yep.
So just think about the effort that it takes to shoot a 3. And then now you got, let's say Shaq does that same exact thing. He goes in the paint and he scores 16. He shoots 16 shots and he makes 60% of his shots.
Yep.
If he did that, Shaq would score 19 points out of those 16 shots and use significantly more energy. And the 16 shots that Kevin Durant shot that are way less energy, they scored 21.
Yep. That
automatically is just negating the shit out of Shaq's dominance. This is saying Shaq is dominating because if you take 16 shots and you make 60% of them, that's pure dominance in the NBA, right?
He'll be taking 25. I think he'll get up to 25 though.
He would have to, but he's gonna be exhausted while doing that. No matter it's not gonna be there's no resistance. He's still gonna be pounding and getting through and banging it on them. He's gonna do that, but it's gonna take him energy. And for Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson to score all of that back is gonna be pretty easy. And then you got and the issue for me is Kobe. We usually talk about who he's guarding one-on-one, all this other stuff. With this Warrior team, is not that. It's ball movement. So you can't just guard Klay Thompson and lock him up because then Kevin Durant's going to be open or Steph Curry's going to be open. It makes it super difficult defensively for them. Shaq's going to be a complete liability defensively, unfortunately. And then offensively, it's sure Shaq's an automatic bucket, but he's wasting way too much energy to get that bucket when Steph, Durant, or Klay is just gonna go over and make a 3 the very next possession that they can't stop.
And this is the perfect time to talk about this because there's two sides of the coin here. And Shaq's brought up one and Draymond Green has brought up the other within the last calendar year in 2023.
Yeah.
So, like, it's Draymond says we're going to pull Shaq out of the paint. We're going to put him in pick and pop situations, right?
Yep.
And Shaq says, if you do that, on the other side, I'm going to fucking eat you. I'm going to pound your shit into the paint. Here's the problem. What Shaq cannot possibly be accounting for is the flagrant foul. And yes, there were flagrant fouls in Shaq's period of time. In 2001, the flagrant foul existed. It started in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
But what is a foul in 2016, 2017, and what was a foul in 2001 are just straight up different things. They just are. There's no getting around it. If Shaq tries to foul some of these guys the way he fouled in 2001, he'll get ejected. There's no... And if that happens, then Warriors in 5. If you're telling me Shaq misses a half of play, it's Warriors in 5.
Yeah.
Like, there's just... It would be... It's just... I can't see Shaq actually putting up a fight from that standpoint with the fouling and with the I'm going to touch him up. Like, no, you're not, motherfucker. Because if you do that, you're going home and you're getting in the shower early. That's the league we're in right now. And if you touch up Steph Curry, imagine him fouling Steph Curry in the paint. Imagine that. Just close your eyes for a second. Imagine this giant human just swatting his shit into the 8th row, possibly elbowing him in the face. Maybe Curry gets a little bit of blood on his head. Shaq's going home.
Yeah.
That's it. That matters.
You had a great day, Shaq. Get the fuck out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You might feel good about yourself. You might go, oh man, we might not have won the game, but at least I'm stronger than these fuckers. You're always going to be stronger than these fuckers. There's no getting around that. Yeah. I think the idea that Shaq's going to come in and just touch these guys up in their era is just super unlikely. Yeah. Super fucking unlikely. The Hampton 5, right? That death lineup.
Yes.
Offensively, it's too much. It's too much. I do think what Draymond says about pulling Shaq...
It's not just offensively, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm getting there. So, I do think what Draymond says about pulling Shaq out will work some of the time, but I don't think it'll work to the effectiveness that Draymond says it will, in my opinion. I just don't think that's how... I don't think that's super realistic to say, mainly because you can do zones. Like, you can do... There's different kinds of things you can do in this era to kind of work with
if
that.
If they run a zone, the Warriors will literally kill them.
They might with the great shooting. They might do that. That's the problem with this team in general. It's why they're one of the greatest teams. It's why they're considered the greatest team of all time is this Warriors team. Like, because there's no real... You could throw out a bunch of different options. Yeah. It's just going to be difficult, especially come playoff time when everybody's trying super hard.
Yeah.
Last point I want to make that you brought up. You said between these two guys, between Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, right? They're what's their threes made?
That's 16 threes. 16 threes, and they would have made almost 7.
Oh, so it looks a lot like that, right?
Very similar, yeah.
Basically, what the Lakers had put up
better shooting.
Better
shooting. Yep.
Exactly. So they're doing better than the Lakers' entire team in the playoffs did.
Yep.
Even if we're accounting for fucking a little bit more 3-point shooting.
Yeah.
That is fucking...
Because you still got Clay shooting another
remarkable.
6. We just saw Clay shooting another 6. And that's not changing with Kobe guarding any of them. Because, I love Kobe to death, but you can't be where the ball's at all the time. Like, it's not possible. Literally, Greg Popovich says, the ball moves faster than the defender, for sure. Yep. So not only that, but I think the thing that I think you kind of, like, we Draymond, with Draymond saying that, pulling him out, doing pick and rolls, stuff like that, I think the other thing that's doing is causing Shaq to use energy defensively now. Yeah, now you're going to have Shaq using energy defensively, along with having a bang down low and shoot 25 shots to try to keep up with these 3 guys that are going to put up 80, 90 points between the 3.
And the Warriors' playoff pace is 100.
Yeah.
Which is the fastest of this playoffs.
Yeah.
And they're dominating teams with it.
Yeah.
So now you got them going like this.
Yeah.
Fucking
I think
Shaq's going to be beat. I agree with that.
I think Kobe and Shaq, in order to make it a 6-game series, they have to average 70 points together throughout that series in order for them to be competitive.
That's a lot.
Because, so my thing is, it's nice when we're talking about the starters, because we're strictly talking about starters now. This Warrior team and the next couple years Warriors team had one of the best benches. You had Sean Livingston easily giving you these fucking mid-rangers that are like Shaq's dunks. Because literally, I don't know if you guys remember, but Sean Livingston literally never missed a fucking fadeaway mid-ranger ever. I used to watch this thing, I'm like, it's in. Every time I would watch them,
58% shooting in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I didn't even have to look at that to know that I was right, because he never missed a fucking mid ranger. Because I watched this nigga all the time, and I'm like, every time he shot a mid ranger on anybody, I was like, that's in, and it would always swish. It's like no doubt about it. So also the bench is significantly better than the Lakers bench. We have this 0-1 team is probably the best out of that 3-year dynasty. We do know that the 2002 Lakers complained a lot. Kobe and Shaq complained a lot about their bench and how they didn't produce. And 100%. This bench is definitely better, but it's still not that much better than that 2002 team. And I think this Warriors bench is arguably one of the greatest benches of all time. I think that
one of them.
I think personally the bench is what made the Warriors even more. I think
the bench from last year's team is better, personally.
Yeah, yep.
But that's what happens when you try to.
I mean, when you have Jordan Poole dropping 20 pieces easily. Of course.
No, I'm saying from the 73 win team. I think the bench from the 73 win team.
I thought you meant
better.
the 2022.
Oh, that team's another crazy deep team. But it's just a difficult math problem for them to solve here.
Yeah.
Even with assuming the Lakers coming up for a little bit from 3. Because that's where I would disagree with the 70, is assuming that Fisher and Ori maybe get above 10 points a game. Maybe we could drop that to 65.
Mm-hmm.
But, I see where you're coming from. It's going to take a fucking lot. And this team is just super unfair. That's why people were pissed that it happened in the first place.
Yeah. I think I've said this multiple times. I think that's the greatest team of all time.
Yeah, and they played like it. It's one thing to have the players to become the greatest team of all time, but you got to play like it, and they have great ball movement. So it's like everything.
15-1, right? 15-1 or 16-1?
15-1 versus 16-1 right here. Warriors were 16-1.
Oh, okay, yep. The Lakers were 15-1. The Warriors were 16-1.
Yeah.
Right. Yep,
so.
Gotcha.
So you have them in how many games officially? Officially, Warriors in how many games?
Officially, just because I love Kobe and Shaq. Well, more Kobe. I'm going 6. I'm going Warriors in 6. Yeah.
Lynn, what do you got?
I'll give them I say Warriors in 5 or 6. I could see it happening in 5.
Yeah, that's the case that Dario was making. I just think Shaq's dominance still is good for 2 games.
You think
think so.
I'm not mad.
I think he gets 2. Yeah. I really do.
I mean, I have him. I think it's hard to say that the 0-1 Lakers are going to lose the series in 5. So I can completely see that, but I just feel like the eras and that team just in general is just too much.
If the Warriors had one more big body, I saw JaVale McGee here, I thought about that, but if they had one more, other defensive big, I think they have, it would be 5.
Where's Bogut's not on this team? It was last.
No. Yeah.
Bogut would probably
not in there.
Because Bogut was actually the
JaVale and Zaza
anchor. Yeah. Bogut was actually the defensive anchor last year.
Yeah.
That would have been helpful.
He was really
definitely helpful. Yeah.
He was really good.
Mm-hmm.
But if they had one more defensive center, I would say Lakers in 5. Or not Lakers, Warriors in 5. But I have Warriors in 6 because I still think Shaq's able to get his 35. Maybe a little less on the rebounding, but probably not by much.
Yeah,
but the other thing is, Steve Kerr obviously knows his way around the triangle pretty well.
Yeah.
Which is another very helpful thing. Remember, he was almost going to go coach the Knicks Holy shit! Thank God he didn't do that. Talk about one of the all-time greatest career moves ever.
He was, Steve was like, and he chose not to. It wasn't like It
was one or the other, and people really thought he was going to coach the Knicks because of Phil Jackson.
Yeah,
like, man, that would have been horrible for his career. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I like this one because it's very easy.
Think so? So
100%.
Assuming the Warriors die in a plane crash and they need a backup.
Oh my God! No, let's not assume that.
Finals.
Let's assume that the Lakers somehow showed that Dario and Russell and Lindsay were completely wrong, and Kobe dicks down all of these motherfuckers, and Shaq completely eats them all alive. Shaq averages 50 and 22. And then we go to the NBA Finals where they say, "Thank fucking God we get to coast." Because that's exactly what the fuck
I still think what I said is more realistic of them getting in the NBA Finals than that what you just said. We have the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, interesting stats about this Cleveland team that I think get overlooked because the Warriors were so sick. Like, the greatest offensive rating in the history of the playoffs is 120 by this fucking team. They have the greatest offensive rating. There's a couple other stats here. They have the highest three-point percentage by an Eastern Conference team at 42% for the playoffs.
Do you want me to walk out?
For the playoffs. Just insane. That's what it is.
Bro, Russell. This is the type of shit that gets me tight with these stats, bro. Like, context is 100% key. That 2017 fucking Eastern Conference Eastern Conference in total.
No, not just in that one conference. This is of all time. This is of any Eastern Conference team.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is, you're saying throughout the playoffs, this is the best offensive rated team, right? But the issue is, they legitimately had trash as their competition in the East. So they completely dominated. Remember, both the Warriors and Cavs at the time had swept through the playoffs. And the first loss at the...
They lost to Boston for a game, but yes, pretty much.
Yeah, yep. So they had basically swept through the playoffs, right? So and they had shit to go against. They didn't have much competition. And it was the Warriors, and the thing that was more impressive about the Warriors is obviously it was against tougher competition in the West, but also Warriors had some injuries that with Kawhi and all this other stuff. But because of that, it looked like it was two powerhouses coming against each other. And it was really a not so great Cleveland team just dominating a shitty Eastern Conference versus the greatest team of all time. I think watching it at the time, that was what was happening.
It can't be like you're in the era of time. I definitely felt similar to that because I had predicted the Warriors winning this particular finals in a sweep in the moment. But I do think that this team in other periods of time has, like, I don't think they're completely ass. I just don't. No,
they're not ass, but they're not the greatest offensive rated. Like, they're not truly, to me, the greatest offensive team in playoff history.
No, I'm not saying they're the greatest offensive team ever, but I'm saying that their offensive rating was insanely high, and I remember them talking about that in the moment because I found that to be kind of like crazy. Like, in terms of what's their some of their playoff stats. I want to get those
and it was so weird because they played so much ISO.
Right. That's why I thought it was interesting because you'd think a team with more ball movement would get that done. But so they're 116 points per game, 14 threes every single game for that 42%. Mm-hmm. That's number one by a pretty good margin, right? No matter what your competition is, you still got to make those fucking shots. Like,
but especially if it's open threes because your competition is trash and not guarding you right, then that makes it way easier to shoot.
Yes and no, but like, I don't know. I do think LeBron, because of LeBron and who he was, I think that played a big factor.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron 100% made them the best team in the East. No doubt about it.
Yeah,
like his greatness is to be. His
he
greatness
takes a
was
massive jump from regular season to playoffs. Massive.
Yeah.
26.4 to 32.8 points per game.
This was when LeBron was coasting in the regular season and then completely going crazy in the playoffs.
Yes.
This is the exact reason why I said I think I'm gonna have to take back that Shaq is that this was I thought about that immediately and I was like, I can't just say that with LeBron James doing this.
Yeah. It's what he was doing in this period of time is incredible from a personal standpoint. Especially at age 32. It seemed like he was getting better somehow. When people were starting to go like this, it seemed like he was going like this. It was just weird.
Well, most of the greats do that though. At 32, that's still peak. Like Jordan, if you look at Jordan when he was 32, Kobe when he was 32.
Oh yeah, but that's what makes him a top 5 all-time NBA player. Like there's it's only possible to be said about those couple of
handful,
guys.
The handful of guys. Yep, 100%.
Shaq obviously also being in that conversation.
Yeah, and for you people who swear that I just eat Kobe's cock, even though I do, I will say that the argument is between Shaq and LeBron for best player in this series, and I think I'd put LeBron over Kobe as better players in that series.
Oh, I feel like it's a definite right now. The 0-1 Kobe versus this LeBron. I'm taking this LeBron, definitely.
Yeah, me too.
It's a short list of guys I'd take before this LeBron.
Shooting is on par. I think if you look at just straight up statistics, it looks like LeBron is much better shooting. And defense, I might honestly edge it to Kobe, but I can see people arguing that.
I would argue that because engaged LeBron is a very
I just don't
underrated.
I think 3 years ago there's no argument LeBron is better defensively. I'm not 100% sure that this LeBron is that same defender. Is the only thing.
I mean, I get where you're coming from. I don't think that's a completely unfair statement, but I'm not willing to say he's trash for me to defensively.
Argue. I'm not. No, I'm not saying he's trash. That's why I said slight. Remember, I said slightly. It's not. I'm not saying Kobe's way better defensively than LeBron. I wouldn't say that either. I think he has a slight edge on him, but I could see people arguing it too because to me it's slight. So I think LeBron is the clear better player between those two. Shaq though is a little different. It's a little bit more competition there.
Do you want me to go first, or you want to go first?
Yeah, you go first. Let's see if we're literally on the same exact page.
We're not going to agree on this one. You're going to be mad at me for sure.
Okay.
Because I have Lakers in 7. I told you.
We're definitely completely off.
I told you. Here's why.
All right. Okay.
14 threes a game, right? I believe in my heart that neither team can really guard each other at all. So I don't think the Cavs have the right personnel to guard Shaq and Kobe, and I don't think the Lakers have the right personnel to guard LeBron and fucking Kyrie, who is wilding out in this playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, very much 26 a game, like doing all his little Uncle Drew shit.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking.
He's definitely eating on Fisher. Fisher's dropping like 3 times.
Absolutely bodying Fisher, which means Kobe's probably going to guard him, which means who guards LeBron?
Oh, Kyrie gets to do the AI on Ty Lue.
Yes.
Right? That's awesome. All right, keep on. My bad.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think even though I still have Lakers winning, like I definitely have Lakers winning, and if you told me that you see Lakers in 6, I'd be okay with that too, but I just think that if I'm saying that the Rockets are going to get a game with their 3-point shooting and this Cavs team is shooting better from 3, remember that game they beat the Warriors?
Yeah.
Where they fucking just
exploded
they made 22 from 3-point land.
Like that, yeah.
They'll get one of those, and then I think LeBron will have one of those 40-point explosion games. And I think it'll be it'll be close strictly because of personnel, but I can't see the Lakers losing a game 7. I can't see it. I just don't think that'll work, especially because I think the offensive system with the triangle is a better system than whatever the fuck this Cavs team is doing, where they just give the ball to LeBron and make him do things.
Yeah. Can you please do me a favor? Can you look up the finals, the series?
Just the final stats.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I just want to. It's just I'm curious to see. I'm sure LeBron went insane. Yeah, I want to see.
He did. He went absolutely insane. Triple-double. 34,
and
12, and 10. A steal and a half and a block. Kyrie jumps to 30 a game. That's what or 29, excuse me. But it's shooting 47% and 42 from the three-point line and 90% from the free throw line. Like, that's pretty damn good. You know what I mean? And Kevin Love's still getting you a double-double. Like, and definitely stepping outside, making some threes. Like, just as many threes as everybody else. You got J.R. Smith who's going to shoot. Like I said, I have the Lakers winning, but I believe the threes and the lack of either team being able to guard each other, I think that makes a difference and makes it close.
I'm not mad at that. I have a completely different thought process on it, but
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I'm not mad at the. I could see in that realm where you could looking at the numbers for sure, you could completely say that. I got Warriors. I got Lakers in 5. Okay, and my reason was I got the one game that the Cavs are going to shoot all those threes. I think that happens the same way, right?
Okay.
My issue though is I think the way Shaq dominates this team versus the way LeBron dominates the Lakers is different. I think Shaq has more of the advantage than LeBron does. I know in terms of the small forward, there's no one who could guard LeBron, but I think he has to or should shoot more threes because he's not going to be able to attack the rim like he did against the Warriors or any other.
I think you're right. I get what you're saying, but this goes back to the fucking fouling that I was talking about a second ago.
No, but if he just fucking, Shaq is a 7-footer.
What if he just fucking comes at him? What if he's just like, fuck it, we're going to put as many fouls on this big oaf as we can. We're going to get to the free throw line. Kyrie, get in there, do all your parlez-vous français English layups. Like, get your shit wilding out. Like, that's... In 2001, Lakers in 4. Potentially.
Yeah.
And definitely 5. But in this era, I do think it's a great equalizer. And I do think each team's putting up 115 points a game. Like, I think they're going to be...
Yeah, it's definitely going to be... It's going to be a big... definitely.
No team could guard the other team. I really believe that.
Yeah. I think... and I think the late... Also, and I know this is going to be my Kobe cocky tonight, but tell me how does Kobe not dominate the Cavs similarly to how Kevin Durant dominated the Cavs? Who's guarding
Kobe?
Because
he'll have to... Who's guarding Kyrie? It's going to be Kobe, right?
No. Kobe's never guarded the point guards.
I don't know how you could... Then I don't know how you could do 5. But he guarded Kyrie. Even in his later stages of his career, Kobe guarded Kyrie.
I mean, if Kobe guards Kyrie, Kyrie's not scoring 30 points.
Right, but then Kobe's... We talked about energy with Shaq in the last series.
But I just don't think...
That's going to play into effect.
Yeah. My thing is... who do you think is the better defensive team?
Lakers by that much? Like the threes, I feel like it's almost non-comparable. Like it's tough to make a decision on that because obviously the Lakers are going to be letting up threes, a ton of them, and so that greatly affects how they play defense, right? So like that part of it makes it hard for me to decide. I don't think Cleveland has a good defense, and the Lakers' defense in the regular season in 01 was white dog shit. It was great in the playoffs, but it's a different style of play.
To put it in perspective for you, the Cavs average what? We just saw 42% from the 3-point line?
Yeah.
So remember, if you look at this series right now, the Cavs shot 38% from the 3-point line as a team, right? That's pretty much saying that 42% is skewed significantly from the Eastern Conference side. Because if you're shooting 38% against the best team in the league or the better team, and you went from when you get to 42, like you had to have been shooting like 45% to get to the 30. You know what I mean? Like to get to the 42. So what I'm trying to say is, I think you're overestimating how actually good this team is at 3-point shooting. Remember, and they also had the one game that they made 22 threes. So if you, I mean, when I'm not taking it out because I think it's going to still be a factor here, but when you take out 22, whatever that game was, where it was the game that they won, and they barely, they won.
No, they dominated. They dominated.
Yeah, they did dominate. Yeah, sorry, I thought it was, I looked at the wrong thing.
But it was because of the 3-point shooting.
Yeah, it was definitely because they made like 20,
45.
Bro, they made 66 in the entire series. So they made literally a third of their threes in one game. So that's why I'm saying it's skewed. It's significantly skewed. When you take out that.
But I guess my way of looking at it, if we're talking about, I just don't think the Lakers will adjust that easily to going out there
Lakers
and guarding
have,
threes.
At least from the Phil Jackson era, the Lakers have been good at defending the three. That's when they went against the Magic in 2009.
It's just a different three ball, though.
But not this Cavs team. The Warriors, yes, but not this Cavs team. The way that they're setting up the threes is similar to like any other normal team. They're not doing a special system. It's literally LeBron gets the ball, they drive it, kick it out. That's what they're doing, and that's most teams in the NBA when they're making 3-point shots open. Now look at it. You take away 24 threes from that. You're looking at 32 threes in 4 games. Do they look like that same dominant 3-point shooting team? No, they don't. So because of that, I think, and that's what I'm saying. I understand. I'm giving them the one game because I do think they're gonna have a similar game to that where they just go off and they obviously don't want to get swept. But they're gonna get a gentleman's sweep because you literally have 2 of the greatest players of all time, and I don't think Kyrie Irving is keeping up with Kobe Bryant. And I think that LeBron and Shaq are equal, but I think what LeBron has to deal with to score his points has to change. I think he has to shoot more in order to get to his points because he's not going to want to go into the paint like that. Like against Shaq.
Yeah, that's where I'm not so sure.
LeBron hasn't had to deal with that.
That's where I'm not so sure.
LeBron hasn't had to deal with that.
Well, he did have to deal with that when he was a youth. Like,
but I'm saying
he played against
but he's
Shaq on the Lakers, even in his rookie year. Like, he's an old. Yeah. He's an old. Let's say.
Yes.
Who do you got? Who do you have?
I have the Lakers.
And how many games?
I want to respect LeBron James, but I want to. I feel like this team's not that good, so I want to say 5.
All right, so there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. You got somebody that agrees with you.
Is that Darren Williams? Like Darren Williams?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
You don't remember that?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't play long. He didn't play much, but that's
sucked for that.
I completely yeah.
I'm not mad. I'm not necessarily mad at the 5. I just think
you giving them a lot of respect, and I'm not.
I
could see where it's coming from.
It's not even that I'm giving them respect. It's a strict matchup situation. It strictly has to do with matchups. Yeah. I just don't know how the Lakers stop the Cavs frequently, I guess. But I can't see the Lakers losing. That's one thing I can, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I cannot fucking see the Lakers taking it out at all.
Yeah.
I
feel that.
So, this is going to be interesting as we get into these next couple of years. We got the bubble, which is perfect.
Shaq's going to have a ton of competition these next 2,
When we get to the land of the European bigs, I'm excited for that.
This is my favorite shit is like when we get to finally talk about the shit that we talk about off camera, on camera. It's always,
And the next time we see you guys, we're going back to the bubble, bitches. Yeah. Back to the pandemic. Let's get it. Peace. See you guys. Hey guys, if you like what you heard, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. Just Just type in Apex Greatness on YouTube to see everything we put out this year. From legacy breakdowns to current NBA and NFL content, we have over 150 videos to binge if you're that type of person, or just to listen to in your spare time. We have about 2 to 5 hours of new content every week. Check us out. Later.